Welcome everyone, firstly, to our TELedvisor session for July. Firstly, it is recorded, so just a reminder about that, and we'll share it later on. I'm really excited about this one. I'll give a little bit of a background about myself, and then let the two founders take it away. So I've got learning and teaching background, technology background, real interest in startups. Had my own startup for a while there, focused on English language teaching, and it was kind of a classroom response system, but it really integrated deeply into the classroom. And why this session is kind of dear to my heart is that it's really important, I think anyway, that EdTech stays connected to teachers and stays connected to students. But it's not super easy to do, and I think sessions like this give us an opportunity to connect with founders. You can keep connecting with the founders after this as well if you want to, but provide feedback. You might want to trial one of their products. It might inspire you to trial another product. So anyway, they're my thoughts. I won't go on for too long. So now I'd like to introduce Nathan, who I first got introduced to his product, in fact, because in my master's thesis I looked at classroom response systems, and I looked at this in its original form, which is a product that came out of Monash University, and actually got to another one. I can say that I proved that when it was used, it was highly engaging, but I'll leave Nathan to do the rest. Take it away, Nathan.
Cool, thanks, Lindsay. Can everyone hear me okay? Is that coming through? Yep, yes. Cool. Thanks, Lindsay, and thanks, Kang, as well. That was really cool. I really enjoyed looking through ClassComm. I'm pretty keen to actually try that out in a few units. So, yeah, I think it'll be really good to see. Please feel free to yell out, Lindsay, Wendy, in the chat. Feel free to just yell out, ask questions at any stage, or jump in. I'll get started by just sharing my screen. Oops, not the whiteboard. So I just want to double check. Can everyone see that screen there now? Is that coming up? Yep. Okay, cool. So today, what I want to just start with is a little bit of background on why we actually created Flux. So before I really tell you about what it is, I just want to talk about, I suppose, the motivation behind this. And so essentially what Flux is a really big bet on the idea that universities in about 5 to 10 years will shift quite significantly away from this kind of more traditional style of learning, which is predominantly listening, maybe writing, and perhaps, if we're lucky, a few questions from students, and shifting a lot more towards this kind of idea of collaborating, designing, engaging, and discussing and debating. And I think the reason that I'm betting big on this is because I really believe in the idea of the sticky campus and the idea that if we can make universities the place that students want to come to, because that's where they're able to build and design and create and debate and create the future that they want to create, then I think we're in a really good space, and universities will have a really strong future. And I really think that universities are the right place to be that kind of institution. And I'm really excited to see what we might be able to create if we can pull this off. But obviously, having said that, it's a pretty big challenge to get from what we see there on the left to what we see there on the right, which is a lot more obviously interactive and engaging. And that's where I see Flux coming in. So what I'm really trying to do is provide a platform that supports lecturers and instructors and tutors and demonstrators, and allows them to shift from what we see there on the left to what we see on the right, at large scale. So when you've got 600 students, we're not going to have smaller classes anytime soon unless something dramatic changes. And so we need to find ways that we can really scale up active learning and really engaging learning experiences. And that's where I see Flux coming in. And so this has been addressed. I mean, you know, we've had clickers, as you can see on the right there, for years. That's nothing new. More recently, we're seeing some really cool tools like the Poll Everywhere, which we just used, Kahoot, which I'm guessing some people are familiar with these. There's Padlet down the bottom there, which is essentially like a live canvas where people can upload artifacts and engage in like a kind of like a virtual online space. But the issue that I see with some of these solutions is that, first of all, they're only solving a single problem. And more importantly, that they're actually designed on kind of almost like an ad hoc basis. Like these more recent polling tools, like Poll Everywhere up the top there, was initially designed for conferences, and then they shoehorned it into education. Kahoot is an awesome tool. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go have a look. But that's designed for really kind of having a bit of fun and running a quiz and getting a bit of engagement. But there's nothing here that's really holistically looking at the whole ecosystem of higher education and what we need to be delivering for the future. And that's where I think there's a niche that needs to be filled. And I think that's the big missing part of the picture so far. And so that's why we've created Flux. And this is not a mock-up. This is a screenshot. It's really this simple and easy looking to use. But basically, the idea is that you can come in here and create a learning experience. So in this case, we've got polls, we've got Q&A, and a leaderboard functionality there. You can click and add those features, add those modules to a learning experience. For this, in this case, we've got a week 5 learning experience, and then we deliver that and allow students to engage and interact and develop artifacts, and facilitate conversations with students in real time, whether they're online or in the campus. And that's where we really see Flux. So I'll just take a break here for questions, because I'm hearing a few pops and things in the background. Nothing yet. Okay, that's fine. So what I'll do then is I'll just pop Flux away. Pop this presentation away and jump into the actual app. If anyone does have questions though, you can jump over to flux.qa/info, and that's basically the landing page where you'll be able to see all of the info and learn a little bit more if you're interested. I'll also send out a link so that you can join the mailing list if you're interested to stay up to date with features and news from the Flux community. So without further ado, I'll just jump straight into the app, because I think it's a lot easier just to see these things rather than to talk too much about like the theory behind it. So just to give you a little bit of background, my PhD is looking at these kinds of tools in like education technology. And so this is really based around the idea of how can we deliver simple research-backed teaching experiences in a way that is so simple for lecturers to build out and deliver. So I just want to give you a quick example. So if you were to come completely fresh, all you would need to do is hit add unit on the left there. I'm just going to create like a second year engineering unit. You can create lecture 1, lecture 2. Oops. And you can fill those out as you go. And then to actually create that lecture 1 learning experience, it's very simple. You just hit the edit button and choose from a list of different activities what you would like to do in that active learning session. So this is actually a development build, so not all of these are live on the website now, but you can see there's things like an anonymous suggestion box, so if you want students to be able to send in questions or suggestions for how you might be able to improve your lectures. Photo share, so if you're in, say, an engineering class, you might get students to design a bridge on the page in front of them, snap a photo of that, have it go straight up to the big screen, and then everyone can critique that as a class, and now you can discuss essentially like being on a small table, but now you're doing that with 600 people. There's a Q&A feature, so in the background you can have like a back channel polling, which most people are familiar with, and you can essentially just click these to add the activities to your session. So I might just start with a multiple choice. Everyone's familiar with this kind of idea, and you can say feeling today. In fact, what I might do, so this is if you can type in your responses, and it's nice and easy to create questions. But what I might actually do is just show you how easy it is if you've already got polls. So if you've got a poll already created, say in PowerPoint or something like that, you can just copy, highlight and copy that text, jump back into Flux and paste it, Control V, and it will automatically import all of those responses there for you and select the correct answer based on the last line of that input file. So it's really, really simple to get started for lecturers, and that's a really key core part of what Flux is all about. I really strongly believe that if lecturers don't find this fun and useful, then students just aren't going to get the benefits. And so simplicity and minimalism is a really, really big part of what we're trying to deliver in Flux. And I'll just give you a quick few more examples. So if you wanted to do, say, an image question, you can right-click, copy the image, and again, jump back into Flux, Control V to paste that image in, and you can then begin by asking your question like, where is the cell highway? So that doesn't make sense as a question, but I'm just putting in random things. And then you've got the image in there. So it's really, really simple to get started with this kind of stuff. You can do code. So if we were to just do copy and paste some code across, it will format that and highlight it in the correct way for whatever code you're writing. If you're teaching maths, you can, or physics or economics, you can write full maths equations. So it's really designed for basically anything that you might want to teach, and you can basically create a question for that and then run it. So I'll leave that for now, and move on to basically running a session to give you an idea of what that looks like. So I've created a presentation over here in this unit already. And just before I jump in and show you this presentation, I want to explain another thing that we're doing that no other polling tools or audience engagement tools are doing at the moment, and that is this idea of collaborators and audiences. So what we found is, being education first and university first, it's a really common situation where you've got a teaching team of maybe 20 different tutors, you've got 30 different classes, and you need to be able to manage those differently. You don't want one set of polls, one set of questions that you're going to be delivering in the same room at the same time and have students clobbering over each other's answers and things like that. So we've created this idea of audiences, which allows you to split out different students into different groups, and collaborators, which allows you to just add your teaching team by typing in their email there and hitting the add button. So it's really, really simple to actually build out your audiences and your collaborators. And that's a really, really big boom for productivity as educators, because that's the stuff that the other kind of conference style polling tools and things really just don't get right. So with that said, I'll jump in and show you the lecture one. So we hit view, and then we can just view the presentation, and we get to choose which audience group we wanted. So maybe the Monday 1 p.m. Student group. So that's the Monday 1 p.m. lecture, say. We can click that, and it will jump in and show us the polls that we've created for that class. And as you can see on the right here, we've got the sign up code students can use to log in. And so what I might do is just put this, I'll click that and open that up into a new tab. And this is now the student view here. So I'll put that over to one side so we can see that alongside the lecture view. So we've got the lecture view on the left and the student view on the right. Got it, and shrink that away.
Nathan, we do have some questions, just so make sure we leave time for that.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Did you want to fire away? Oh, actually, should I jump into the... is it easier if I read these out?
Sure. Did you want to finish off with what you're showing us, or?
Oh yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah.
Yeah. So students will be see this on the right here. As a lecturer, you can just hit the present button, and your presentation will pop up. So here we have lecture one, which I'm presenting now. Students can jump in on that, and you can begin to ask poll questions. So for example, here, students can answer this question here, and on this side, we get if we want, we can see the live results. So down here, you can see that as students answer, you get those live results. From the student side, you can also do the Q&A activity. So don't get slide 2 or something like that. So students can post in questions, other students can upvote those. And then on the lecturer side, so maybe while you're running this poll, you can actually just hit over the Q&A tab and see what questions the students have. And you can answer those questions while you're running your polls in the background. So there's a few other activities there. There's like a countdown timer and the leaderboard and things like that. But essentially, we're trying to build out this platform that will provide you the simplest, easiest way to get started with active learning in your classroom. And there's a whole bunch of my research and things as well here at the website that I provided earlier. So we're building out the documentation as well to make that as simple as possible. And that's all available at flux.info, flux.qa/info. So yeah, I'll wrap it up there. We can jump into some questions maybe.
Yeah, let's get into the questions. One of the questions is around just the difference between this and other products. For example, Mentimeter or even H5P. I know they're quite different products, but where does it sit in relation to?
Yeah. So the way that I'm looking at this is that, so Mentimeter is a polling tool, which means that you can run real-time polls, which you've just seen in like Flux do. And that's kind of it. Like that's the niche, is that it will deliver polls in your classroom. With Flux, what we're really looking to do is deliver the operating system that just kind of sits in the background of your classroom and allows you to run anything that you want. So whether that's polls or whether that's a live Q&A in the background, or if you want students to be able to chat with each other, or there's lots of different functionality out there. So like if you want maybe people to design something, snap a photo and have that up on the big screen, you can go through that. So it's essentially just like this shared workspace, digital workspace, where everyone can throw artifacts and engage in different ways, but using the same platform rather than having these ad hoc tools that do bits and pieces, not necessarily from a point.
And can you combine in-room and remote students?
Yeah, so that's a really big part of what we're looking to do. So I really want to make this the best platform for that. So yeah, we've got a lot of lecturers that have an online audience as well as a live streaming audience as well as in-class audience. And Flux is a really great way because to get those online students engaged, because they can now ask questions, answer polls, and engage in ways that previously they were kind of just stuck to the the live stream chat or something like that.
Awesome. Apologies that I actually don't have the names for some of these questions, but they're good questions, so thanks for them. Can the results go into the Moodle gradebook, or is there does any data get shared back?
Yeah, so you can hit an export. We've got like an export function, which is designed specifically for like Moodle gradebook and your LMS. So it's all coded by student identifier and then the results, so it's nice and easy to upload. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to combine a couple of questions so we can get them all in. Can you import lists of attendees in bulk? Do you add them individually? And also, can you import Google Slides, for example?
Yeah, so with Google, we want to make Flux that completely agnostic to what you're doing in your class. So you could be using Keynote, Google Slides, PowerPoint, and we actually intentionally decouple ourselves from that presentation software, so that you can still use Google Slides and then have Flux running alongside that, so that you can basically run any kind of learning activity, whether it's Google Slides or doing coding in a browser or in a library, and then you've got the Flux stuff running alongside that. We are looking at integrating the things a little bit more tightly with some of those, with like Google Slides and PowerPoint, for example. But that's, yeah, if you're interested, stay tuned. I'll send out a little form here so that you can keep in touch with us. But yeah, there's no tight integration yet. It's kind of, it works nicely, but it's not fully like integrated.
Okay, thanks for the form. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to click that and have a look. Let's just finish with a couple of quick questions. Oh, actually, that one's been answered. Thanks, Tom. Is it mobile responsive? last question?
Yeah,
And
yep. So we designed everything mobile first. So the idea is that students can use it on their phones, and any phone will work, iPhone, Android, even Windows Phone. And you can use Linux laptops or Chromebooks or anything. It'll work on everything.
and okay, actually, there is one more question. I'll grant that to Kate. Is about data export. Can the data be exported? How? What data?
Yeah, so at the moment, the data that we're exporting is the poll questions. So you can just the biggest request that we've had is that we want to be able to export things for poll questions for marking. So you basically get all of the poll question data that can be exported into a CSV, ready to upload into an LMS. Otherwise, we haven't requests for anything else to be exported, but certainly it's a fairly simple process. So if there's anything that, if you'd like to export your Q&A sessions, and see how many upvotes each question got, send us an email and we can do it within a week. So yeah, we'd love to. We're very active, like in terms of development. So if you do have features or suggestions, we would love to hear those as well.
That's kind of good note to finish on, because that's the idea behind this, to connect our community with EdTech startups. So I'll let you finish up, Nathan.
Cool. Hopefully that'll end the sharing.
Cool.
Yeah, so thanks everyone. And yeah, if you're interested, please fill out that Google form, and I'd love to keep in touch. Cheers.
Cool. All right, there are a couple more messages coming through on the chat, so by all means, follow them up. And some must deploys. Yeah, thanks a lot, Kang and Nathan. It's really good to have a presentation of some really interesting apps on the one hand, but also the thinking behind them, the learning and teaching problem that you've begun with, and it's just it shows a level, like a depth of thought, I think, behind these products and behind their development. And I'd really encourage everyone to try to connect in some way. It could even just be a mailing list, or it could be sending through some idea, whatever idea it might be. And on that note, yeah, if anyone knows any other EdTech startups that might want to do something like this at a similar kind of stage to Nathan or Kang, then that'd be really cool. And I will stop blowing on. So thanks everyone for coming. I think we got over 30 maybe by the middle, so that's great. That's awesome to see. Thanks all, and have a great day.